Hey, what's up guys and gals? My name is Ricknineg. Thanks for joining me again with another lesson flying here at the Santa Monica Airport. I know some of you guys have asked me and I've made it in the comments below. Also, look at the description. I always have a little bit more details there of where I am and other playlists on my channel and so forth. So, if you're new to the channel, I always have trouble saying that. If you're new to the channel, anyway, thanks for being here. One of the main things I really wanted to do with this whole series, getting my private pilot's license and doing it, I mean, a lot of people, I don't know, I haven't seen many people doing series like these. I'm sure there's some out there. What I really wanted to do is I wanted to give you the ability to get inside me as much as possible, to understand how I'm feeling, to understand what my thoughts are, what my frustrations, what my worries, what my successes, good and bad, okay, good and bad, because I can't just be like, oh, everything's perfect, everything's good, because I know that some people may want to do this, some people are maybe curious what it takes, how hard, how simple it is. Well, let me tell you, it's not simple, at least for me, and so I want to relay that to you, and hopefully you understand that, because again, I could fake this all I want and be like everything is great and things are awesome. And it's not like things are bad, but I could hide my emotions and not tell you what I'm feeling. I could pretend like I'm great and I'm good, but today, for example, I was super nervous, and right now I'm super nervous. I feel like I'm gonna go take a test in school, like if I went back to school. You may say, Rick, how is this possible? This is like your 13th, 14th lesson, not counting ground. You've shown that you can land planes pretty much by yourself. Maybe you have to work on radios, maybe you have to work on a few things. Even my instructor said, you're doing landings, you're doing takeoffs, you just gotta butter them now. You just gotta make them smoother. You just got to really get those actions down. And so why am I so nervous? Well, I don't know. Let me tell you, nerves are always something that I've wrestled with ever since I was a little boy. When I used to take tests in school, I used to always want to do the best, be the best. You know, that has its downfalls, but this is something which I guess I still wrestle with, the idea of you know, wanting to perform my best and do my best even though I'm still learning. But it's one of those things where it's instinctual. I don't get up in the morning and say I want to be nervous, you know, something to just think about. So hopefully these videos inspire you to do something that you've always wanted to do, whether it's flying, whether it's talking to someone that maybe you should have talked to long time ago. It doesn't have to be something expensive. Going somewhere. I could literally go down through the list, but you know your life and you know something that you need to take a chance and do, that you're putting off, that you're not getting done right now. And this is something where I could have called Sam and be like, Sam, I don't feel well today, let me not go in, because I'm that nervous. I'm that nervous right now. I have to admit to you that I could have been like, I'm gonna cancel that. That's not me, that's not who I am. But I gotta do this. I gotta fly today, even though I'm nervous. I've gotta face that. And let me tell you, just because I've done this so many times doesn't mean I'm gonna be nervous. I wasn't nervous my third lesson, but I am now. So, I don't know, let this be a theme for today, that you're never too old, you're never too experienced to be nervous. I heard that Jimmy Fallon, who's on the, you know, Jimmy Fallon Tonight, he says that he gets nervous every single day before every single show, right before the curtain opens up. When the curtain opens up, he is good. And so probably when I'll get my pre-flight inspection, I'll be good. So let's get in the plane, guys and gals. Let's do some things. Let's get some flying for sure, and I'll get some footage for you as well. We'll see you in a little bit. Let's get flying. As I said, guys and gals, I've mixed a couple lessons together just to get a little bit of variety in here and just to try something different. So we're going to be looking at 3 different type of lessons. The first lesson is all about traffic patterns. I've talked about that. That's basically takeoff, making a rectangular circuit around the airport, and landings. I've did a few of those. Then we're gonna go into me actually going to another airport. This is Van Nuys Airport. It's about 15 miles away. You're gonna notice this is a parallel runway situation. There are 2 runways, so it's a little bit different. The runway is, I believe, a little bit longer, but it is definitely skinnier or narrower in terms of width, so it is a different experience there. And finally, practicing some emergency procedures in the Simi Valley area, which you can see is very mountainous and terrainy, and that we're practicing what would happen if the engine goes out and had to land in the middle of a field or of a highway. I can never get bored of the Malibu coastline. Let's look at a couple landings that I do. Again, these are in traffic pattern formation, so we're trying to continue to practice and improve my landing performance. Now I want to specifically highlight this because you can see we're coming in a pretty aggressive angle. You can see the airport coming up in the middle of the screen roughly, and you can see that it is kind of an aggressive angle. It's not a perfect right turn that I'm making. That's because Sam made it emergency type condition. He said, okay, for whatever reason you have to sharply make it into the airport without making a perfectly rectangular angle. So I want you to land this plane no matter what. We're going to keep the power on obviously, but we're going to be coming in the non-traditional way, basically a very sharp right angle turn to come into the base. And as you can see, I'm trying to keep it as lined up as I can. It was a gusty day from what I can remember, so that's why you can see the planes going all over the place. Trying to keep it centered. Of course, I'm trying to adjust the trim as well, keeping the plane center for the center line and the runway, giving a little bit more throttle whenever I want a little bit more altitude, and making sure to pitch for 60. And again, I'm pretty happy with where the plane ends up. There's no problems there. I just want to make sure that right on touchdown, landings are butter smooth. And now we're changing over to the Van Nuys Airport. I'm going to be landing on the left runway. I believe it's 16 left. And one interesting thing about this, it was very windy, extremely windy. We were almost at our limit. The plane can withstand crosswinds of about, I believe, 13 knots, which is around roughly 13 miles an hour. It might not seem like a lot, but it is very powerful, especially for the plane that we're flying in. So we are almost flying at the limit of the plane. And so there was a lot of struggling that I was doing with the stick. And if you can see, there are trees. There are very, very tall trees right in front of the runway. So we can't come in as low as we can at Santa Monica. You can see there's also right above the propeller there is a plane turning, and so this is a very heavily trafficked area. As we were coming in to our many landings on the left, there were planes at the same time, jets, landing on the right side. You can see those arrows on the runway. You're not allowed to land there. For this landing, I believe we did okay, but one of the landings we almost landed right in front of that line. That's an FAA regulation. That's a no-no. You don't want to go against that. So we were able to make it and land on the proper stretch. As we circle again back to the runway 16 left, you can see all the jets on our side. This is a very heavily used airport. Of course, you can see there are 2 runways, not 1. And so all of the Los Angeles area helicopters, news helicopters, most of the stations have their helicopters based there. There is a little area with over 20 helicopters. It's really, really congested, like I said, but it's great practice to be flying in an airport like that. And now moving on to the final lesson, this is the Simi Valley area, and again you're going to see the plane doing lots of stuff. We were doing stalls here in this area. We were also, like I said, doing emergency procedures. These are things that I need to get down cold. When you have an engine shutdown or engine loss of power, you have to pitch for the proper airspeed, you have to find a place to land, and go through a 7-step process, a checklist, making sure that if you need to land that plane in a field somewhere or on the beach, wherever you need to do, you got to do your best to do that. And so we're practicing a lot of that here in this footage. I just want to have you listen at the engine and how we basically make it go to idle and basically go with almost no engine power. Now I want you to listen very closely at this clip, which shows the engine pretty much, I wouldn't say at full power, but around 75%. Then you can compare it to this other clip where we are flying over doing an emergency procedure with very, very, very minimal engine power. Most of what you're hearing here is the wind and the air around us, that type of noise, and not much engine. The engine's pretty much idling at this point. Back on land, guys and gals. We did something that I wasn't expecting. All in all, pretty good. It was nice to go to another airport and see different environments, see different airplanes. I did more of the radios. Again, it was helped, and sometimes I would chime in or I would repeat things back, callbacks, but if it was too crazy, he would take over. So I'm trying to do a little bit more. I'm trying to force myself to do a bit more and get more comfortable. I could do the shorter things, but if there's a long list of things that the tower's reading me off that I have to repeat, that's when I struggle, because it's like I gotta think how to repeat it in my way with my word. So thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to leave a big thumbs up, and if you're new, welcome. But don't forget to watch the previous episodes, because again, you get to see my progress and how I arrived here. I am scruffy today. We'll see you all next time, guys and gals, and don't forget, be hopeful.